So, good afternoon. This is Easter Sunday, so there's lots of people reflecting upon Jesus being dead in the tomb for his second day. So he will see the resurrection tomorrow. And apparently he's in hell at the moment, according to the churches, preaching to people, or maybe the spirit's in hell, apparently. I'm sorry I'm smiling, but that's a doctrinal issue and problem that, of course, the Catholic and the Protestant Church have. Their insistence on believing in a place of torment. But this particular video is all about Jehovah's Witnesses have lost their doctrinal collapse has started. So what has happened that's different in Jehovah's Witnesses in the last 2 years, especially in 2024, and now we're in, of course, late spring of 2025. As an Englishman, I'm very happy that it's this time, because we're focused on the weather in Britain. We always want it to be warmer. So, as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I haven't really noticed any kind of doctrinal collapse, actually. My faith remains intact, surprisingly. And that's expressed when I talk to people in our Bible ministry, which I was privileged to do yesterday on Easter Saturday, the day when Jesus did die. And at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the world went dark. Jesus died and he says, "Father, I entrust my spirit." And his mother was nearby, and the Roman centurion, didn't he say that this really is the Son of God? There was an earthquake. It went dark for the rest of the day. Well, the rest of that whole afternoon, there was a gloom, a darkness. So anyway, what has changed? Well, in 2024, Jehovah's Witnesses announced in January. Now, I'll go into detail on more of that in the video. I'm saying it's my right-hand corner. It might be your left. They announced that Jehovah is a God of mercy. And with regard to doctrines, we can't say, the people before the flood, because they were killed by God's wrath, they don't get a resurrection. See, so all our teachings where we have said, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, no resurrection, we take them back. We're saying, it's up to Almighty God and his dear Son, who's the assigned judge. They will make their minds up what they're going to do. We're not going to be dogmatic. So that was the first thing that was mentioned. Secondly, in August 2024, a magazine came out saying that our disciplinary arrangement was changing. Basically, it was continuing, but it was changing in what it was doing. It was going to be more gentle. There would be more assistance from the branch office for elders or overseers. They're the ones that would sit on judicial committees and make decisions as to whether someone is their lifestyle has changed so much that they can't no longer represent Jehovah's Witnesses, and so they have to be thrown out of the religion. It's called disfellowshipping. That policy has been abandoned. No longer can you be disfellowshipped amongst Jehovah's Witnesses. The Judicial Committee has also been disbanded. It's gone. So if you're a Jehovah's Witnesses and your life has been a bit questionable and the elders are a bit concerned, if they start coming down on you hard, they're breaking the new rules. And you can appeal and ask for help from the local branch. It's only a phone call away. You have a phone call, and the branch will then contact the elders and have a little word with them. So the new policy is really taking place, and what the purpose of that is to make it much gentler, because over the years Jehovah's Witness disciplinary policy became too harsh. Also, people say, Jehovah's Witnesses, they make their followers shun people. You've got to shun your family members. In March 2024, there was an update. I think it was done by Jeffrey Jackson. There was an update saying that you can talk to family members. You don't have to shun them anymore. It's your choice. It's a choice. So mandatory shunning has gone as well. And that was explained to the court in Norway. The court was convinced that Jehovah's Witnesses are genuinely changing their policies and showing a kinder policy towards their children. And of course the ex-JW community goes, they've only changed those because they didn't want to lose the case. And of course Jehovah's Witnesses didn't lose the case. Not only were they successfully appealed, but the way is open for to have proper official recognition again. So they're the changes that I've seen as one of Jehovah's Witnesses who goes to the meetings and witnesses on a weekly basis. So I don't see any other doctrinal collapse. The only doctrinal collapse I've noticed is a number of reports about the churches of Christendom, the Protestant churches in particular. The Protestant churches, there was a report by the Unitarian Church and another body that monitors the beliefs of Christians. And at this time of year, you may even be at church today or tomorrow. They asked people questions connecting to the Trinity, because that's a central teaching of the Christian churches, because they've continued that teaching from the Catholic Church. And they asked people, and they found that 1 in 6 Christians who regularly goes to church or is involved in a Christian faith movement believes in the Trinity. The other 5 don't. Now, that is the central teaching of Christianity that's been kept over from the Catholic Church. Only 1 in 6 Christians now believes in that as the proper dogma described by the Catholic Church. So if there's doctrinal collapse, it's coming from the churches outside, and that's why they're emptying. My wife likes to go to boot fairs, and they're full. The boot fairs on a Sunday are full. The churches are empty, half empty, quarter empty. Many are just used once a month. So there's a doctrinal collapse. And my question to anyone is that if God is loving, why does he have a place of hell? And talking about Easter, if Jesus Christ, and this applies to Dr. K and his Protestant friends, because that's the man who's the caption of this picture. If you really believe that Jesus is God, then he didn't come as a genuine man. He was a kind of God man. Then how could he give his life to save the human race? He was a fraud. And when he spoke to himself, he was speaking to himself. When Jesus said, "My Father, hallowed by their name," he's a fraud, wasn't he? Because he's talking to himself. So that sort of reasoning puts Christians off. That's why there's loads of people who've been brought up as Christians in the churches, and they're deconstructing. They're leaving. Got a video on that, by the way. Anyway, take care, everybody. I've had my little afternoon rant. Take care, and if you are having a nice Easter, then don't forget tomorrow is to remember that Jesus was raised from the dead. His body and his blood had gone, and when he put on flesh and appeared to the disciples, he put on bodies that they didn't recognise. At first Martha thought he was the gardener, and then the apostles, they walked with Jesus, they didn't recognise him, he had a different body. He was even able to materialise a body that had the wounds in it, so that Thomas would get his request. I won't believe in Jesus unless I can put my fingers in the holes where the nails went through his wrists and his feet. So unless he put so he did. So Jesus was able to put on a fleshly body, although he had been restored to being God's principal son. So thank you very much. Take care. And see you again.